Silver Mermaid. Well, we stopped the flood, so for the most part, there's no more rain in the forecast, so I guess we'll try to get back on this project. I want to get this thing on the ground and get the wheels back on it. That way I can get that rear clip in here and get all that stuff done, but there's other things we got to do first, right? With these types of projects. People don't talk about the hours you got to stand there and stare at it trying to figure it out, right? Well, the previous owner put this gas tank in because the stock gas tank rotted out probably from getting drug on and laying in the dirt for years and years. So he put a new gas tank in it, and he put this raised gas tank cross member. This is an aftermarket cross member. I don't know who exactly makes this. There's probably multiple companies. But that raises the back of the gas tank up like a lot, like 2-3 inches, something like that. But it doesn't do anything with the front mount. Well, what you end up with is a gas tank that's still lower than the frame in the front by quite a bit. 3/4 of an inch or so, an inch. But somehow we gotta get the front of this gas tank up a little higher. Now we got other problems with doing that. Oh. Then we got this problem where it's basically touching the back of the cab. Now, they did move this cab back a 1/2 inch, but they didn't move that bottom piece back. This part of the cab is in the stock location. This part of the cab is moved back by about 1/2 inch. You can see over there on that body seam where they moved it back. It's the same on this side, which is gross looking. All right. Which doesn't look that great, but you see how far they moved it back, and that's a common hack for getting your front wheels to be more centered in the wheel well in the front, because it moves, you know what I mean, it moves the entire cab and firewall back by 1/2 inch. It helps get your tires away from the firewall, and they get more centered in the wheel well. So what we have to do, it looks like we got plenty of room on this cross member to move the gas tank back, or at least a 1/2 inch or so. So if we move the gas tank back a 1/2 inch, that should give us clearance with the cab floor here. Then we have to move this bracket. It has to get Z'd. There's multiple ways I guess you could do this. It's held on by these 4 bolts on the outside of the frame. You can either Z this bracket, or you can re-drill the holes and relocate it where you want. I don't know. I hate drilling holes, so I'd probably just Z this bracket. It probably would be easier to figure it out. It wouldn't be too hard to do it the other way, but you know, the welder never lies. And then then you can just use the stock holes that it was in. But the plan is to Z this bracket, so the gas tank has to come out of this thing, or at least get cribbed up and out of the way. We got to get this bracket out. We need to Z it. This still needs to come off. The stock leaf spring mount. I got that side off already, but this side still needs to come off here. And we're probably going to have to, I don't know if we'll have to take this charcoal canister off. We might be able to work around it, but they did do a pretty good job of hooking up all the stuff on this thing. But look at this air hose. Look. Jeez. It's just so brittle over the years, sitting around. But they did a good job of getting it on there. It definitely didn't come off. They used pop rivets. Pretty solid. But you see, they weren't worried about the gas tank, because before you're sitting on, you see where this is drug off a little bit, you're sitting on this. This is what hits the ground in the back first. And that, you see with the new cross member in the back, it keeps the gas tank from being anywhere near that. But when you're body dropped and laying as low as you possibly can, you know, you got to do something with the front of this tank. That's for certain. You're definitely going to drag through. And if you look at it, it's probably already, it's already rusting. Brand new gas tank has been sitting on the ground for, well, this tank's probably been in this thing for 8 years. So that's minimal rust really for how long it was sitting in the dirt. It's probably at least 8 years. It's been sitting around. The second owner had it. Well, and that cross member there, you're going to have to do something with that. Carrier bearing cross member needs to get rebuilt because that's actually hanging lower than the frame. See it? Right there. So you're gonna start teetering on that. And the tranny cross member also probably needs to be modified. But we definitely got to worry about the go and boom stuff, you know, first. Rule number 1, don't die, right? I guess we got to worry about rule number 1 first. Then we'll worry about rule number 3 and 4 up there. Alright, this is a little drawing of what that bracket looks like. You got, you know, the bolts come, this is the frame. You got the bolts coming through the frame holding that L-shaped bracket on there. Then you got these rivets holding the strap for the gas tank that goes around. Okay. And then there's a bolt in this side, you know, that holds the strap. And then that's how it tightens around the tank and holds the tank in place. Well, what I mean by Z-ing it is you would take this bracket on the other side of this bolt here and just cut it right here. Right outside the edge of the frame. And cut that bracket just like that. So then there will be 2 pieces. This piece, and then you got the inside piece that's still bolted to the frame, right? Or you can take it off and do all this on the bench. And then you would end up with something like this, which is, this is the stock portion of that Z piece. And then what you cut off, you would move up your inch and back an inch, however far you want. So up and back. And then you would re-weld this to the stock bracket and then rebuild, you know, your gussets and fill in this with a plate, this open area with a plate, get that welded in good. And then you would end up with the stock bracket modified up and back 1 inch. And then you can bolt the gas tank back onto it. And then after that's all said and done, the only thing you're going to have to worry about is maybe modifying this. I could probably take a section of this pipe out, weld it back together, and use a longer piece of rubber hose for a radiator or something to get this in the right location. They've already had the problem with it hitting this charcoal canister they put on here, so this needs work anyway, and it looks like it's way too far forward right now to even be in the proper location. So this thing needs some attention for sure. We definitely got to loosen it up, move it over, move it around, jack it up, push it back, right? Like, we got plenty of clearance here, and we're going with a reverse 4-link on the rear clip, so we're not going to have anything up here, no shocks, no nothing. Everything's back here, so we got plenty of room in the front to move it back. So we got to, project number 1, relocate the gas tank. Yeah. Hopefully we don't need to loosen any of that. We do have to do something about the mice damage, huh? It's definitely a little crispy. Not too bad, but a little crispy. Kind of smells like gas already. Well, we got most of it out of there. I'm sure it's going to come up again. Groundwater. Have to turn this thing back on in a couple hours, but it's better than the building floating away. Guess we got to get our hoses wrapped up and put away. But put a new set of headlights in snow white. I went with the chrome ones in this one instead of the black housings, just because everything's chrome on the front of this. These things work real good. You know, don't buy those cheap LED lights. If you buy an LED lights, make sure you get something with a projector. That's the only way they work right, in my opinion. But we've been working on this a little bit. We had to do some welding in the back, try to fix the bumper, pull the bumper off. We had small little exhaust repair needed to be welded. One of these days we got to get around to reinforcing the bottom of this bed, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Finally got around to fixing the tailgate. Ooh, ah. Oh, that's nice. We even put some new rubbers in there so they don't rattle. We got stole a piece for the top so we don't have to listen to the tailgate rattle in traffic. Too bad. Oh man, that's nice. Does it piss anybody else off when someone just slams your tailgate without using the handle? Or is that just me? Alright, well, we got most of this stock mount hacked off of there. We cut all the tabs off the rear. Got that sanded down, the old bag mounts. So this will be good when we get our new 4-link bars and tabs in here from the back here. And I was going to take that bracket off to the gas tank and modify it like I was showing, but I kind of cheated. Hold on. Let's turn the light on. I kind of cheated and found some conveyor belt material. Took like a bunch of layers of that, 6 layers or so, stacked it on top of that cross member, the gas tank mount. So that's getting us pretty good on the level of the tank. We should be pretty good with that too. We should be pretty good on that temporarily to get it to lay out so we can get this rear suspension put back on there. And we might have to modify that cross member, but I don't know, man. Thinking about actually welding 1/4-inch plate to the bottom of the frame rails on both sides just to keep it up just that little bit. You know, it'll help with our firewall clearance. It'll help with keeping our rockers in actually decent condition and not totally destroying them, right? So that's the plan. We'll get back to work here. Keep plugging along. All right, guys, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. We found some use for those rolls of paper out of a storage locker. We got some pink stuff here too. They work great for guarding the windows. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. The sun's out today. It ain't raining. But we'll probably do some pricing, get stuff ready for the flea market.